AvranceCorp Development's YouTube channel, Quality Homes for All.
Welcome to another edition of AvranceCorp Presents. I'm Kenai Andrews. Hope everyone is doing well. This is another edition of AvranceCorp Presents. I am Kenai Andrews, and today I have a great interview with a local property manager here in the Greater Toronto area. And I'm going to play that for you in a few moments so that we can get a better grasp of just what it takes to be a property manager here in the Greater Toronto area. Also, we're always live here. We do this every Wednesday at around 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And I was just listening to the earlier presser today conducted by the Ontario Premier, Doug Ford, as he was talking about the latest deal by Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney with the country of China and their decision to allow up to 49,000 electric vehicles from China. And of course, Doug Ford was very negative on the deal, basically saying that, allowing Chinese electric vehicles into Canada, and in particular Ontario, will damage the Canadian automotive sector, and of course lead to a lot of job losses as well. So Doug Ford banging the drum for Canadian automakers, and and listening to a lot of talk radio before the show, you get the feeling that these points are being talked about at great length. And, that's certainly one position in this situation. Of course, Mark Carney is at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, and on the heels of an aggressive speech, many would agree, where he kind of lambasted American President Donald Trump without really naming him, basically asking for the medium powers, as he called it, to band together, to work together, and to reject these tariffs and these the weaponization of tariffs by superpower countries such as the United States. And he did get a standing ovation for that. But a lot of critics are saying, does Canada really have the game to match the United States when it comes to trade and when it comes to this idea that they can make deals with other countries without really involving its biggest trading partner in the United States? There's also another perspective that people think that Mark Carney is really trying to show the United States that with this deal with China, that Canada does have options and it's not dependent on the United States for the upcoming CUSMA deal, which is basically the deal that gives Canada a lot of tariff-free products to go into the United States and vice versa. This deal is up for review this year, and so that is one of the big question marks that a lot of Canadians are wondering about, not just Canadians, but businesses and financial institutions are really wondering about, because if that deal expires or if the United States does not play along, then that could be very harmful to the Canadian economy and introduce a lot of tariffs, additional tariffs. And of course, additional tariffs would would probably bring a lot of job losses and do a lot of harm to Canadian businesses. So a lot of people uh, also feel that Carney is trying to leverage the fact that he can make deals with other countries and maybe show the American administration that it is in their best interest to strike a deal with Canada, because as we've seen in 2025, just the tourism sector alone has caused a big splash in the economies of many tourist states in the United States. Las Vegas, the city of Las Vegas in Nevada being one of the prime examples where they've reported a lot of a significant drop in revenue from tourism, particularly from Canadian visitors. Florida is another state that is also reporting similar losses in 2025. So, in other words, it's going to be a very interesting year for Canada, the Prime Minister, and of course the real estate sector, which is affected by all of these factors here. And so I thought it'd be great to get another perspective. In speaking to property manager Noel Clubb, as you will soon hear, he has a few thoughts on the situation. So without any further ado, let's play that interview. This is property manager Noel Clubb. One. All right. Here I am with Noel Clubb, who is a property manager here in the Greater Toronto area. Thank you, Noel, for coming on AvranceCorp Presents. I really appreciate the time. Let's get right into it. Can you share with us how long you've been a property manager in the Toronto area and some of the primary duties of a property manager?
Sure. Actually, yeah. Thanks for having me on the show here. Yeah, actually, I've been doing this for now over 20 years. So I've been with a few companies like Brookfield, Crossbridge, for example, HR developments over the years. Currently with Taft Management Forward, Taft Management Inc. So for really, it comes from the terms of being a prop manager, you're basically in terms of you're really managing, for example, as a condo, being a corporation, as an example, you're there basically managing their assets. The corporation, of course, the day-to-day operations of the building. So really, your job is to lead and direct and guide, for example, the corporation, the condominium corporation's board of directors, which could be, depending on their declaration, between 3 to 5 people, typically speaking, on average. And your job is to basically go from the short-term stuff that goes on, of course, the day-to-day operations of the corporation, and also the long-term stuff in terms of like roof restorations, those kind of things, garage restorations, projects that go on. But your job is really just to guide and direct the board of directors, and also you're dealing with the owners of the units that make up the corporation, and of course the tenants as well. So you really are looking after both of the daily operations and, of course, the long-term plans of the corporation as a property manager for kind of corporations, for example.
I see. Okay. And as a property manager, like, has the job really changed in the last 5 to 10 years, or has it pretty much stayed the same?
Yeah, the jobs stay the same, but it's just more the technology of how you do things with some companies, like how things have changed. That's like more of the changing factor, but your job is still is you're kind of guiding directing a lot of people between, for example, the kind of corporations or looking after commercial units.
Mm,
For example, it could be like or retail units, like you deal with the restaurants, services of that kind, that such. So that kind of varies in that case there.
I see. Okay. And so, for example, like, we're just, we had that snow day recently here in the Greater Toronto area. Can you walk us through what you went through in terms of working that day?
Yeah, it's just more just like, it's more calls like, "Well, the snowplow guy came by, but he did miss my unit," kind of thing. So, depends on the unit, the building, they're all different 'cause I deal with a lot of corporations. Some are low rise, of course, high rise. and you also deal with townhouse units, and that's where it gets a little more complicated because uh, you're trying to basically try to move the snow, which was over 40 centimeters of snow that actually hit our city.
Wow.
24 hours where that was is over 40 centimeters of snow.
Oh man.
So you're trying to move that snow and then of course, relocate it and how that worked out with your snowplow contractor as well. So that for me was just more just the calls coming in of, hey, he missed, they missed my unit kind of thing, or missed my area, or missed that, missed this. But overall, I thought the snow plowing was actually this year, and that major dumping was impressive. I have to say overall,
Hmm.
especially even the city of Toronto. Like I did a lot of driving. I did actually. I just kind of worked from home on that Thursday because it
Okay.
was not safe to drive at all,
Right.
like a lot of folks did. But I went, of course, was out on a Friday, which is, of course, still being cleaned up. It was such a huge downfall of snow. But I was really impressed by the city too, how the roads were really well cleaned up so quickly with all that snow that came down. That was impressive. But also my contractors too, their condo corporations and the commercial buildings. I thought they're very good. We had very little, like nothing major. It's just really thank God. It's usually something comes up because that's just the time of year, and that's just it goes on. It's slick, it's slippery, it's messy.
Mm.
But overall, I thought it was really impressive with this major downfall, how it's handled, both with our corporations and also the city of Toronto. Very well done.
Yeah, we've been fortunate. That was the really the first one, and we're already
And
halfway
a
through
major one. We
January.
had just major one too. We never seen like that much snow that much like that quickly in a long, long time.
Right. So I guess this is where, these sorts of services that the condo owners would see, um, in terms of your visibility as a property manager. I guess that's part of the condo development, the fee that they pay, or what's the fee that they?
Yes, it is. Yeah. So yeah, to answer your question, that's a good question there too. So that's your condominium, so condo element fees, right? That's what that comes down to. If you're a condo owner, you're paying the common element fees, and so that's part of, like you're saying, that's part of your common element fees. You're paying for the daily operations costs, which of course are part of the contracts. Snow plow removal contract for the 12 months, right? Has to be
Right,
renewed after 12 months for the new year. But that's
right,
part of what the condo owners pay for is those services. Keep the building running safely and cleanly and operating the way it should be working, right? Smoothly as possible.
right. Okay, and that's interesting. Um, so as a property manager, I'm sure you've been keeping tabs on the news and everything. Um,
Yes.
you know, uh, it wasn't a great year in real estate, obviously, in 2025.
That's right.
Not a lot of building going on in Ontario or much of Canada. What are your thoughts on the industry going into 2026?
You mean like housing industry in this case here?
Yeah, housing or condo.
Oh, like in sales, right? Like in sales terms, just so we're clear.
Do you think we'll see like things will improve, or do you think there's still much of still more bloodletting to go on?
Yeah, this is a tough one, I think, for all of us because our costs have all gone up. It's
Yeah,
so that comes down to federal government spending and policies and so forth. And unfortunately, we're on the bad end of the tariffs with Mark Carney's not. He's actually failing. He's failing us. Let's be honest here with the tariffs. Everywhere he's gone to do a tariff deal, we lose somehow. I don't know how that works, but we seem to be spending out more money, and of course, taxes have all gone up. Inflation went up. They're printing more money over the last 5 6 years. So all these things just add up to more costs and higher costs of living, and our food costs have gone up. Like we had true and real food shortages in terms of you go to a restaurant, you're getting way less, but you're paying way more because that's being taxed as well inside the tax, right? As federal government is taxing all these companies as well that makes food and of course transportation. It's all been overly taxed and carbon tax and all these other hidden taxes. But who will pay for it in the day? Well, that's you and I, right? So all these things come back to hurt us, and that impacts our wallet and our spending power and our spending ability, what we can do short term and long term. And furthermore, look at employment rates also gone up much higher. Went from 6.5% in December 25 to now 6.8% here in not even we're only in mid January of 2026 here, and we've already gone up as well. So it's really concerning in that sense. So therefore, the housing market and the rental market is in a bad shape because their costs have gone up, and also the cost of living's gone way up. And I've also seen a lot of reports before coming to your show. Just out of curiosity, was what's going on with what people are saying about the rental market. And I was shopping around myself in the rental market this
Mm,
past spring and summer, so I had a like really good grounds view what's going on. And
mm,
I'm reading all these reports from like some really significant organizations, and I was quite disappointed because what they're saying is it's a very soft market. Actually, it's a very as costs have gone up there too, rents have gone up, which they don't tell you that. The rents went up, so you're renting now smaller space for more money.
mm.
Doesn't matter where you go in Ontario, it's actually gone up too. I found it very misleading in terms of what I've seen in mass media on that reporting. And yeah, look at the condo sales. That was one of the worst years we've had, and I do not see how it's going to turn around right now. Which is what's going on right now with the world. It, of course, creates more insecurities, and it's going to impact more jobs as what's going on too on the bigger picture. So I see the market's going to be really tough. It's going to be really tough. I've seen projections of like 2, 3, 4% increases in terms of buying. Maybe sort of just very, very soft and modest. But I think even that is could be a little bit optimistic, just based on what's going on right now with the economy. Um, Mark Carney also doing, the tariff thing with China. I think that's another bad idea for Canada, for Canadians. So yeah, all these things are not looking very good for us right now in terms of what's going to move for us economically, what's going to happen with our wallet, So it's yeah, I'm hoping for 2, 3%, increase in terms of very modest, very soft, but even that I think is going to be rather questionable.
All right, that was an interview with property manager Noel Clubb here in the Greater Toronto area, sharing a lot of thoughts on not just the condo industry, but Prime Minister Mark Carney's performance and the deal with China, uh, as well as his thoughts on 2026 and where he sees sales going here in the Toronto market. And I just couldn't help but notice that his views seem to line up with a lot of the thoughts of our previous guests here on the show, including we've had skilled trade representatives on, we've had mortgage specialists on, and we even had the Canadian food professor on the show, and going into 2026, there is obviously a lot of pessimism in terms of an increase in housing sales, in building. About the only thing that seems to be moving up is rentals. There seems to be the rental market seems to be one of the few bright spots. But if you're a homeowner or an aspiring one, the thought of a budgeting or a blossoming rental market probably does not appeal to you. Unfortunately, there's just too many question marks that need to be answered in 2026, including the Kuzma deal that I alluded to earlier before the interview, and this uncertainty that seems to hang around the economy like a storm cloud. Basically, uh, freezing, potential home buyers, potential, basically potential consumers in the Canadian economy, making them very cautious about where they spend their hard-earned money, and also contributing to, developers, builders, to also remain cautious as they try to feel out, the buyer. So I want to thank Noel Clubb for coming on and sharing his thoughts and giving us a basic overview of the property manager. Of course, those condo fees are also another bone of contention for condo owners as those fees continue to increase with no real end in sight. So if you are a condo owner, you're paying these fees. Maybe your fees have gone down. Maybe you're in one of the exceptions. Give us a comment here on the show and share your experience, because it seems like condo fees are a serious factor here, and a lot of people are grappling with increased costs, particularly condo owners and housing homeowners as well. But this will do it for this edition of AvranceCorp Presents. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm Kenai Andrews. We do this every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So until next Wednesday, thanks for dropping by, and we'll see you in the next one.